7.1 problem set. We're just going to go over a few of these here. Not much different than the examples that we went to. Let's skip the first 8, because all you're doing is taking those numbers, taking the percent sign off and putting them over 100. So like 5 would be 24% would be 24 over 100. You get to 9 through 20. Notice that it says B. So if you need some help, just go to section B, changing percents to decimals. And all we're doing is taking, let's look at number 10. Let's get rid of this stuff first. We're looking at number 10, 34%. In order to change a percent to a decimal, the decimal now is there, we move it 2. So we get 0.34. Same thing with 18, 7.25%. Move the decimal over 2, and it's 0.0725. We moved it over 1, 2. And because we don't have anything here, we have to put a 0 there. Okay, part C, 21 to 36. Let's look at some stuff there. Let's look at 24. 0.87. In order to change this back to a percent, we move the decimal place over 2, and we get 87%. Number 30, we have 0.9. In order to get that to a percent, we move it over 2, and because we don't have any, we only have one number, we have to add a 0 there, and that gives me 90%. 2.34. Move it over to 234. Okay, so that's all there is to that section. Takes us to set D, which is on page 504. And we're changing a percent to a fraction. Now if you remember, when you're changing a percent to a fraction, all you're doing is putting it over 100 and then reducing. So 38, 40% would be 40 over 100, which then would reduce to 4/5, or well, actually, let's just go ahead and reduce it. 20 over 50, 10 over 25, that reduces to 10 over 25, and if you want to keep going, which I would like you to because it's not fully reduced, you end up with 2/5 as your answer for 40%. Alright, which brings us to one like 46, 63.6%. And if we're going to change that to a fraction, we're going to write it as 63.6 over 100. And then we'll go from there. Again, we can't leave it as a fraction because it has a decimal, so we're going to multiply that by 10 and that by 10, which gives me 636 over 1,000. And that's going to reduce to 159 over 200, because 200 goes into that 5 times, 159 goes into that 5 times. So 636 over 1,000 will reduce. Alright, we got 48, we have 0.45. So we're going to change that to 0.45 over 100, multiply it by 100, multiply it by 100, because we had to move over 2, so we need 2 zeros. So that gives me 45 over 10,000. And then when you reduce that, you end up with 9 over 2,000 for an answer there. Okay? So that's how we're doing the decimals to fractions, which brings us to part E, which we're changing fractions to percents. So we're going to take a fraction like this, we're going to write it as a decimal, and then convert that to a percent sign. So remember, fractions has to be changed into decimals. 2 decimals or 2 decimal places over gives me my percent. So one like 1/3. 1/3 is 0.33, and then that changes to 33%. And do the same with like number 68. We have 1. Let me erase this 1 3/4, 68, 1 3/4. Okay, I'm going to change that to 7/4 to an improper fraction. Then I'm going to divide that out and put that into decimal form, 1.75, and then change that into a percentage, 175, as we move it over to. So 7 divided by 4 is 1.75, and then that will give you 175. All right, so those are the problems for lesson 7.1.